you're going to get. You're going to take it up and put it in your little room.
In the museum. How long have you been baking?
Well, about 3 years.
How long?
Oh, about 80, at least, 85 maybe.
85 years.
Yeah, something like it.
Where'd you start?
Boston,
Boston.
West End,
West End. Where were you born?
Poland.
Poland.
You ever heard of Potusk?
Potusk.
That's near Warsaw, about 10 miles from Warsaw.
When's your birthday?
March,
What day?
about 15th.
What year?
1900. I think it was in 1890. I don't know.
1896.
1896. That's it.
1896.
Too long ago to remember, huh?
That's it. Isn't that easy?
Well, when did you come over to this country?
1901.
1901. Remember the boat trip over?
Huh?
You remember the trip over on the boat?
Yeah, I don't remember the boat.
You remember the trip?
Oh, sure.
Well, tell me about it.
I was a youngster. And I was roaming around my mother with 3 more children, 2 more children, I guess it was. Brother and me, 2 sisters and 2 brothers, the 4 of us. And you see, I eat kosher stuff only. So they gave me some salami. And they gave me a big piece of salami and I started eating on it. My mother looked at me, saw me eating it. She said, "You eating that? That's not kosher." I said, "What do you want me to do with it?" She said, "Throw it away. You can't eat that kosher salami." I mean, that's not kosher, see?
So how come you came to this country?
My dad was in this country about a year and a half or so ahead of us. And he's a baker.
Oh, and you settled in Boston.
And my grandfather was a baker too, back in Potusk.
There's crime in that boat.
There wasn't much of a bakery down there.
Yeah. What are you making here?
This is going to be egg bread, twist bread. If you wait long enough, I'll show you how we twist it. Simple. If you learn how to do it, you'll be all right.
We want these in that room. You ready for them to go in somewhere? They sit a while, or?
Set them here on the end of the table and crisscross them so that they don't fall in each other. Just put the extra.
But it's fun if you like it, see? If you like that work, you don't like it. It's like Bruce, he likes it.
Heyday, that's my
Nothing more than Russian. I'll show you how we do it.
Come on.
It's no trick. I think you can do that too.
No.
I don't think so.
Now, what kind of dough is that?
This is an egg dough.
Egg dough.
Made of egg bread. I mean, I'll tell you. Bruce can tell you a whole lot more than I can. You ought to see him twist that thing up. Well,
Now, Jack, you know you do that twice as fast as I do.
no.
If I did it that fast, it'd look like a lump of bread and not braided.
Well, but well, that's simple, isn't it? That's all. Well, you see, I worked in the bakery for a while and I didn't like it. And you know why I didn't like it?
Why?
That night work. So I started working elsewhere. I was a shoemaker, a blacksmith. I tried to be a carpenter. I didn't like it. So my mother says to me, Jack, she says, let me tell you something. Your father's a baker and your grandfather's a baker. You become a baker, she says, you'll never go hungry. And you'll always have $1 in your pocket, regardless. I started in and that's all there was to it.
So you became a baker.
Well, actually, I was a good baker before then, a pretty good baker, you know. I didn't know as much as Bruce does. He's a man that, he's a knowledge, he can be what do you call it, not a teacher, but and so that's it.
Yeah. When'd you come to Oklahoma?
We came in 1926.
Why'd you come out here?
Well, we took a trip from Boston to here because I got a little extra money from my boss. And I wanted to see the Indians. See? So we looked around here, there was no Jewish baker out here. And they really needed it. So, I says to my wife, I says, let's stay here. We did. We started the bakery. We got that bakery from across on Broadway Circle. You know where Broadway Circle is?
Yeah.
There was a bakery over there, and
What was the name of it?
Clausen's Bakery. He was a prince, and we bought that bakery with no money down hardly. We started that, we kept going. That's all there was to it.
What'd you do during the war, World War I?
I didn't.
You didn't.
I guess you figured that out for me.
Yeah.
I went down there, like, they examined me and everything else.
Put the form down over.
Says you'll never do it. I said, why? Your feet are too flat.
Mm.
You won't be able to carry that 100 pounds, 150 pound in your bag. But I'd like to go anyway. No way.
Did you support the war effort? Did you?
Well, I tried to.
Yeah.
I tried to.
You baked for the soldiers?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. When you
There's
get
a
that.
man there. He's got knowledge.
He does.
He hasn't been in the bakery that long, but he's got a lot of knowledge.
What all have you taught him?
Very, some of it, little, very little. But sometimes, you know, the people that has knowledge and education, all you gotta do is tell them something, and first thing they do, they do better than you can.
Yeah.
You ever heard about that? The teacher in school, and he teaches everybody, and he's working like hell to make a go of it, and the student gets out and makes $1 million in no time. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the guy. You know this thing here?
What you do?
Well, about 3 weeks ago, I was coming out here and I was getting along fine. And there's a little step, and I stepped on there, and this other foot I tried to bring up, and there was a little ice there, and I tripped.
Did you break it?
No.
Cracked.
I went to the doctor, and he says, I'm scared of that. He says, I think you're going to live.
That'll be fine, Jack.
What are some of the stories that he's told you that you?
Jack, why don't you tell me about when you first started baking, about how you mixed the dough and stuff, and how you put the dough under the bench, and then it'd rise up and you'd fall off, and that's when you knew it was ready.
That's it. See, over here used to be a bench, a trough. We mixed the dough by hand, and after we stay there, this was the bench to roll out. And I laid there, and when the dough would come out, I knew it was time to go to work. But we never had something like this, a food brush. Didn't know what it was. Used to put our bread in boxes, wooden boxes. See?
Wooden boxes.
Mm-hmm. They still have them out in the country somewhere. You can find them in wooden boxes back over in...
I remember them at the old shop, the wooden boxes.
Yes, sir.
That's what they would rise in.
Is a wooden box better?
Well, it would hold the moisture. And, well, there's a lot to talk about.
How did you tell the temperature of the oven?
So in the one way we didn't have no thermometer. So we stick our hand in the oven, or we take some flour and throw it in, see how fast it burns it up.
What kind of oven did you have?
It was, no, it isn't removable. It was just standing still, you know.
What'd you burn? What kind of fuel?
Well, we used to use wood, coke, coal, even sometimes paper if we had to use it.
Tell me the story about tearing down part of the barn.
I was working in a small town.
Where?
It was somewhere in, I don't know where, probably Montello or somewhere, small town. And we was working over there. They had 2 horses. They used to put 2 horses to a little wagon, something like they use that in the, what they use, mail truck, mail wagon, little small mail wagons. You used to have 2 horses because it was muddy roads. And so I come to work one morning. There's no wood, no coat, no nothing. So I remember there was a place out there where they had a lot of paper there, a junkyard. So I got that paper there and put it in the oven and burn it and made the oven hot. And that's how we baked the bread. Come back the next morning, no wood, no coke. What the heck am I going to do? So I went into the barn there, and there were stalls, you know, and I broke down some of them stalls. And they had enough wood over there to make it. It wasn't a big oven, small oven, you know. So I baked the bread. When the boss come in, you know, to go see the horses, he couldn't find the stalls. Says to him, Jack, you anything about these petitions, all that? Yeah, I says. He says, what you do? Well, I said, there was nothing. We had to use something to bake the bread. Well, he said, that's the case, you're fired.
How old were you then?
Oh, I must have been about 17. I used to work with my dad to help him along, so I learned the trade early. We also worked in Brockton. You ever heard of Brockton? Brockton, Massachusetts?
No?
Brockton, there used to be a big shoe factory, Douglas shoe factory out there. And I worked out there in, I think it was Campello, that small little town there. And we stayed there about 6 months or more and moved into Brockton. Brockton's a big city.
Yeah.
You must have heard of Brockton, Massachusetts.
I've heard of Boston.
Boston. Anything else? Chelsea? You ever heard-
Medford.
Medford, Chelsea.
Yeah.
What else? Where else is it? Framingham.
Where?
Framingham. You must have heard of Framingham. They have a college out there.
No. What are you doing over here?
Hmm?
What's that? What are you doing over there?
That?
Yeah.
Right, I guess. I don't know. What?
You got the pans out. What are you going to do?
Oh.
That's for the egg bread.
Yeah, put them in now. Okay. Well, anyways, it was a lot of fun.
Jack, remember you were telling me about how they used to make up bread way back, that they'd never heard of a square long loaf? They used to always make all the bread round?
Oh, yeah. We used to make it all around loaf of bread. And so, the man came in from St. Louis. And he started making bread, long bread. And my boss asked us, we're losing our business. Well, I said, what do you want to do? He said, well, you have to make long bread too. And so we made long bread. There was no machine to cut the bread. No slicer. Yeah.
Was this in Boston?
Yeah.
How come you started making long bread? What was the reason for the long bread?
Well, they claimed they can get more slices out of it. When you have a round loaf of bread, your slices are not even. That's it.
How come you braid the bread like you do?
Well, I'll tell you, I started out way back in Europe, where they only used to use it on Saturday, Friday and Saturday. During the whole week, we never used to eat that bread. We used to rye bread. And on Saturday or Friday, Saturday, it was something different. On Saturday, yeah, just like you eat fish on Friday. Oh, there's a lot of things we can tell you about, but
Well, tell me some.
I don't know what. I was a youngster, and my mother gave me 2 cents. She said, go out and get you some candy. So I went to the bakery there, and I gave them 2 cents, and they gave me 2 rolls. So I took one and put it in my pocket. This is going to be for tomorrow. I said, no, don't forget. This one here I'm going to eat now.
So you didn't get candy, you'd buy rolls instead.
Why wouldn't you buy candy?
Well, we didn't have enough money.
Oh.
My mother used to bake some bread too. We had a little. Oh, we had a little bit of an oven, just like what they had, the Indians, you know, and she'd put it on top of the oven. And my grandmother used to say, Jack, she says, gee, you can climb up there and we'll take the loaf of bread down, we'll cut it, I'll get something to eat and you get something to eat. We did. Mama come home, so everybody was happy. She's wondering, looking around and found out half of the loaf of bread is gone. She said, who did it? I said, I did. I said, Grandma told me to get it, and I did. That's how hungry we were years ago. My daddy was in the United States.
But this is in Poland?
Poland.
Mm-hmm. What kind of house do you live in over there?
We had one room at in Poland, see? And there was that little oven there, and on top of there we used to go out to get warmed up. And we'd put a couple of beds there, and partitions somewhere somehow. And we used to put straw on top of the bed instead of a spring mattress. And the chickens used to come in too. We even I think we had a goat if I ain't mistaken, so we can get some milk. And we took care of that. Well, it was fun.
How come your father came over here?
Now you said right wood. My father was an army man for 3.5 years, and they sent him way out to some Siberia or somewhere. That's Russians, you know. And when he came back, he saved a little money. And he looked around, he says, he's going to open up a bakery. Somewhere near the marketplace. And so he did, found one, and he went over to, and he's going to buy, put a little building there. Look, your name is Segal. Yeah. Well, he says, you're a Jew, huh? Yeah. He said, you can't buy no land out here. Why? He said, I served the nation. He said, I served the army. Well, he says, you don't have nothing to do. He said, it's according to the rules and laws. So he tried, he couldn't get it. He says, I think I'll go to America on account of that.
Was this in Poland?
Mm-hmm.
Was he in the Polish army?
Well, no, it's called the Polish army. Russia was running Poland. She had control over it. And the people from Russia used to come into Poland. And from Poland, they used to ship them way out.
So he was in the Russian army?
I wouldn't know what you'd call it. I guess so.
Yeah.
We used to talk Russian and Polish. Very little Polish, mostly Russian.
How come he was sent to Siberia?
Well, that's the way they sent him there. He said it took him about 2 months to get there. And 2 months to come back.
Why were they sent out there, did he say?
Well, he said a lot of things that I don't remember.
Yeah.
But all they want to do is to have an army over there.
What was his name, your father's name?
Mendel.
Mendel Segal?
Mendel Segal.
What was your mother's name?
Sarah.
What was her name before she was married?
Let me think. Carp.
Hmm?
C-A-R-P.
Carp. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
What are you going to do next?
Well, we gotta wash this thing, I know for sure. Now, back east there, they don't only use this only for Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays. But out here we use it every day. I think I got a picture right there. Would you want to see that picture of my dad? Yeah. He's got whiskers on him. find it. That's Stanley.
Well, he was a good-looking guy.
Pauline.
Now, who is Pauline? Is that
Goldstein. Sam Goldstein, Sam's wife.
your daughter, right? This is your daughter. Do you know when that picture of your father was taken? A long time ago.
Well, maybe 75 years ago.
When did you get interested in starting your own bakery?
Huh?
When did you get interested in starting your own bakery when you were out here?
Oh, I bought Clausen's out. We had a big building there with 2 ovens. And he wanted to quit.
Were you working for him at the time?
No, I come in and there's a part of it named Johnson, used to sell vanilla and extract and all that stuff. He said, go down and see Clausen. He wants to sell out, he's tired of it. And so I come down there. He said, you got any money? Sure, I said. I had $100 Liberty Bond. I said, here, I said, but save that. I said to him, I'll take it back after we pay up. He had about $10,000 worth of merchandise in there. And so he wanted to take a mortgage on it. I said, you can't do it, Clausen. He said, why? I said, if you take a mortgage, I won't be able to get no flour, no merchandise. Without it, I said, I'll be able to put in, take out, and I'll have a good credit. He did. But when Mrs. Clausen told me, after 2.5 years, she said, I'll have to get double the rent. I don't want to say it, but she was a Ku Klux KKK. He was a wonderful man.
She didn't like Jews then?
She didn't like me, didn't know what to do. Well, I said, Mrs. Clausen, I said, I can't pay double the rent. I think we're paying about $200 a month. I said, I'll have to look for another place. She said, well, okay. So we went downtown where the terminal was. You don't know about the terminal, do you? We had a terminal where all cars and all buses used to go in there. And there was an open place there, so I rented that place. I was doing fine. And then the terminal was taken out. It was still good. But when they started putting in parking meters, I told Harry, I said, he's the owner of the building. I said, Harry, I said, I can't stay here. I can't make no money. What money I've got? I said, it's nothing. I said, if I don't get out quick, I said, I'll be stuck here. So from there, I went down to 23rd Street between Harvey and Hudson. And the boss over there let me have a month's rent free so I could get it all straightened out.
What building was that? Is that where the Tower Theater is now, that area?
No. 23rd, that's in between Harvey and Hudson. You know where that is, Harvey and Hudson?
Yeah. Was there a flower shop down there?
That's it. There used to be a flower shop, and then which was that the next, and then there was a Johnson's on that side there, and the furniture after that.
Yeah. Was that Ed Reynolds' florist?
I don't remember what it was there.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were doing good over there, good too. Until they start putting in meters over there. I said to my wife, I said, we got to get out of here. We got a few dollars, let's get out. Because we're never going to make a go of it. So we went down to, it was, where was it now? Out here, the street over here. So we hired that, we rented that place there. And we stayed there about 2.5 years. But I found out I was getting older then. I was getting to be about 65. I said to my let's get out of here because we won't have nothing. So we bought that building over there on Pennsylvania. We moved in there. So the man, the banker come out and looked at me. I needed a mortgage. Asked me, how old are you? 65. Gosh, he says, I don't know. I said, don't you worry, I says. I told him I was going to live and live and live. And there was another building right next to it on this side over here. And I said, we take that building off of there. We can put some stores in there and connect it to the building. And they come in again, he says, Segal, he says, how old are you? I told him. He said, it's risky. I said, don't you worry about it. I'm going to live and live and live. So we put up that building there. And we had some renters out there and we're doing good. I don't know where the time went. It looked like it ran out. So my wife was working in the front. My son Stanley was working with us, and me. And for some reason or other we got tired and sick. And I figured if we don't get out, I said we're gonna die. We tried to sell the place, we couldn't get it. Finally a man came in by the name Harry Dees. He told me he was a baker in the Navy. And he had three children, 3 girls, and 1 boy, and a wife. I said, boy, he'll do good. So he bought the bakery. But nobody could get along with him. My boy Stanley says he wouldn't work with him. He could tell him, looking at him, that we can't get along with him. So he got out, but I stayed with him. But I stayed for a while, and then he told me, he said, I can't stay with you. I told him, well, why this? I get along without you. Well, he stayed there about 3 years or so, and he sold it to a fellow named David Sellers. He used to live in Norman, still lives in Norman. Well, I wasn't doing anything, so I came over to David. I said, David, would you let me work here, help? He said, sure.
I thought, didn't he call you, Jack, and ask you to come help as a consultant?
Yeah, either I passed by there or he called me, something like it. And finally, when he worked there, we needed somebody, and we got a hold of Bruce, and he was a great man, one of the fastest men in the country. I couldn't keep up with him. Of course, I was older, and so, and this David needed somebody to be a manager. And I told Bruce, I said, watch out. There was another girl by name, what was her name? Debbie.
I'll never forget.
I said, watch out. Between him and Debbie, I said, somebody's going to get into her. I said, be smart. So he told David, I'm sure I can take it, but I'll do my best I can. So he asked Debbie, and Debbie said, of course I can run the place. I know I can do it. I can do a better job than anybody. And who do you think got the job?
Let me tell you about Debbie first. She was real nice looking and everything, and I kind of wondered about what happened. I was real young at the time, and I had never run a bakery. I didn't know if I could do it or not for sure. So I told him I thought I could. I said, I feel like I can. I know how to bake. I know what products need to be made. I think I can do it. Well, apparently her saying that she knew she could do it was the best. And she was older, more of an adult than I was. I think I was probably about 21 at the time. And he picked her over me. And her the first thing she did as manager was fire me. And I guess it was because we were kind of vying to get the manager's job, and I don't know that I'd have done that to her, but maybe I would have, I don't know. But the first thing she did is fire me and hire some other baker. And to make a long story short, 6 months later the bakery closed down. So I think enough said on that.
Well, that was all fun, wasn't it?
It was fun. It was fun. I'll tell you, I baked it at several places. But when I came to Irene's bakery and started working with Jack, I started to learn the real meaning of baking. At Skaggs, places I had worked before, it was whip the product out and get it out there, and there wasn't so much concern about the taste. You know, it had to be good, but it wasn't the quality-minded. It was more get it out there and get it out there fast and sell it. And when I came to work with Jack, although he had to deal with the other people that was running Irene's at the time, I learned a lot from him about quality, how to make bread the right way, how to make the pastries and stuff, to take your time and make sure that you've got a good product first. Then you can hurry with it, but you got to make sure that you've got the product good, quality first, and take care of it that way. That was one of the most important things I learned from Jack. And I'll tell you, from working at Skaggs and places like that, we had everything was a mix. You had your French bread mix and your bun dough mix and everything like that, and I had never made anything from scratch. I probably at the time didn't even know that there was a rye meal and a rye flour and a light rye flour and all that. I just got the sack and added the water to it and the yeast and made it. And I learned all that from Jack about the different types of flours that you use, how bread will act if you add too much of one flour, not enough of another flour, if you add too much of one ingredient or another. All of this stuff I hadn't learned from working at Skaggs. It was more or less the rustle and bustle, throw the mix in, get it done, and that was it. And I'm thankful to Jack for that. I've told him many times. He taught me a lot on that.
So when we opened up this bakery, we needed somebody. And I says to Ingrid, I said, Ingrid, Bruce, if you can get a hold of Bruce, I says, he's the best man. We tried to get him, couldn't get him because he was tied up with Greenhouse. So got his brother. And we worked together for a year at least. Wonderful business. And then
How do you make your sponge?
huh?
How do you make your sponge?
We used to have a couple of tubs.
Wooden whiskey barrels.
Wooden, that's right, whiskey barrel. And we used to mix it up. You see, that sponge has got to be good. If you don't have a good sponge, you don't have no bread. That's the way it was told. I've got some reading about it.
Yeah. Now, what is a sponge? I don't know what that is.
Well, you mix it with yeast. You know how I used to make yeast years ago?
No.
We used to get it out of from the beer, way down the bottom of the barrel. My dad used to go, that was in Poland, used to go to the beer shop and get a can full of that, or a bucket full of that bottom beer. And this is what, then they made a sponge out of that. And that used to be yeast. And years ago, Fleischmann came out here, maybe 100 years ago, he done the same thing. He made yeast out of that one little bit. And once you use that, you don't have to use no more yeast. But you have to have a sponge.
So in the early days, you used yeast from the beer?
That's right.
And wasn't it in the early days that the sponge was the only yeast that there was in the dough?
Well, that's about the only one that they had years ago. Until Fleischmann years ago started it up. Well, he was in a good business. I guess he was an educated man.
Well, I think we have enough for this morning. We'll have to come back.
Don't put it all in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Jack, thank you.